Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And this sorry if the audio is a little off today, but we're having issues with Riverside. We're thinking of switching anyway, so we'll see what happens. We may come back next week with a much better audio to begin with, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And we took a little break over Halloween, as you guys noticed last week. But we're going to recap our Halloween festivities as well as our horror challenge update. We had some good participation this year. We had some people already send in their finished score sheets, so we're going to talk about that. And then Brian's going to give us a review of the Universal Horror Unleashed in Las Vegas, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yes.
Later in the show. But first up, let's talk about Halloween. Obviously, we did it all up this year. Both of us, Brian and I, both decorated the yards and everything. I was a little disappointed because Halloween was on a Friday this year. The weather was absolutely beautiful here. I mean, it was like 60s, like it's just cool enough not to be like super cold, but
nice.
but chilled enough that it still felt like October. And I was like, okay,
That's like the perfect weather for Halloween.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, it was a teacher work day, so the kids had no school. And then it's Halloween's on a Friday. I was like, we're gonna have like a surge of trick-or-treaters. Like, there's no way this isn't gonna be a banner year. So I like had really prepped. I'd bought like 100 full-size bars of chocolate. I had like a whole like 250 piece mixed candy thing. I had like 90 full-size airheads. All this stuff ready. We put the tables out and everything. Our neighbors did the same. They put their tables out at the end of the driveway. We had music blasting. And I think all told, I mean, it's not terrible. We had about 60, I think, but it was well below what I expected. I expected easily over 100, and we've had over 100 here before in past years on nights that were not as perfectly conditioned as Friday night. And so I was kind of like scratching my head, like what happened, like where'd all the kids go? But I was thinking maybe on a Friday was actually a bad thing because I bet a lot of places had like events like trunk or treat events and stuff, and it was easier to do it on a Friday maybe for them. So you had a lot of kids like peeling off that, and also you had a lot of parties, so you could have had a lot of kids like Halloween parties and stuff instead of
True, yeah.
do it trick-or-treating. So, I don't know.
And to show you how much Tim cares about Halloween, candy has gone up in price really significantly this year. So look at what this man did for his celebrating the Halloween. He's invested like probably one of his kids now may not go to college right away
That's
because
right.
of this. No, like,
That's right.
no. All kidding aside, but it did go up a lot. So, and Tim, I know he's like my model, like to like how to do Halloween. I've like been envious of all these years of not being able to decorate anything. So, but yeah, Tim just does an outstanding job every year, and so like he means so much. So where were you other 40 kids that didn't show up?
I know. I credit my mom for that though, because and my dad, because growing up, Halloween was a big deal. Even this was back in the 80s, early 80s, but before Halloween was really the industry that it is now. But we always went trick-or-treating, and we always did Halloween up right. So that was just that was just something I grew up with. So I've never not celebrated Halloween. Like, it's always been a big holiday, probably the second biggest holiday in our household after Christmas. So
Nice.
yeah, I kind of credit my childhood for that love of Halloween for sure.
Yeah. Well, and this year in our place, like we're on a different street, and there's kids on the street. So I think, when you have like our other street we're living on did not have kids on it really. So I think when you have kids on the street, that will bring other kids to your
Yeah,
street,
they'll bring their
because
friends. Yeah.
yeah, they'll bring the thing. And so like most of us, like our street had some decent decorations on it. I'm not to toot my own horn. I probably went all out the most. If you look on Instagram, I posted some clips. I mean, I had like that projector going,
Yeah.
shooting ghosts out. I had my little animatronic, and our next door neighbor had some cool stuff too. So it was like we had this little wing, but down the end of the street there was some cool stuff. Like one guy, you would love this. Oh my God, you and Kev would love this. This dude, he had a little graveyard set up, but instead of giving out candy, he got one of those like I think it's like $200 for this thing. He got one of those racks of Hot Wheels cars. Like a standee, like you'd find in the
Oh,
store. And when you go to there for trick or treating, he'd tell you to pick a Hot Wheels car.
oh, that's cool.
Right? I thought that was so cool because he came by to talk. So it's like, and like we were talking about that kind of stuff. He's a collector like me, so we always get into these collector conversations. But what's great was is like I feel like I kind of finally had the taste of what you've been doing for years. How like we had like groups of kids show up. So I'd say overall we maybe had about 30 plus kids, which is the most I've had in like 10 years, I think. And what was great is, it's like they came in these groups. And it was funny. And like Julie and I knew we're like, we don't want leftover candy. And the way I look at it is like kids nowadays, like if they can get their hands on a lot of candy, then enjoy it now before you start
Yeah,
learning about things like cholesterol. So we're like,
exactly.
no, grab. They're like taking one little piece, and I'm like, we had this bowl of one of those big, huge Costco bags, and I'm like, based on I knew that I did the math in my head, I'm like, okay, each kid could take like 10 pieces, and we'll still be fine based on what the average shows up here.
Yeah.
So I'm telling kids, and I'm like, no, no, take more, take more. I'm like, what's your favorite? What do you want? And they were like, "Well, I like this." I'm like, "Take them, take a great handful." And one kid finally at the end, he's cool. He had a Jason costume on. It was like the Jason Universe one, I think, because it had like the Jason logo. It was like, and I'm like, so he came over, and I'm like, "Oh, nice, like I like it, Jason." And he's like, and he was saying something about like how he loved getting candy. I'm like, "Well, here, grab a handful." This kid, I mean, he had a normal size hand, but he took a handful like it was like a claw machine. I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
See, I
That's
wish
well
this kid.
done.
I wish I had not been like I was so scared of like envisioning this large crowd that I should have been giving out three full-size candy bars per
Yeah.
kid. Like that's what I should have been doing. But I had my Shaggy costume on from Scooby-Doo, and I had Mia dressed up as Scooby-Doo. She had the Scooby-Doo tag collar on, and so I had made a Scooby Snacks box, and I put all the candy in that. And so
Oh,
when the
cool.
kids would come up, I'd be like, "You want a Scooby snack?" And I would like pull it in, and grab like candy bars out and give it to them, and they
Oh,
really
that's
like that.
awesome.
So it's kind of fun. But
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, what kind of costumes did you have this year? Like we didn't. I was kind of surprised. Like I didn't see a lot of scary costumes this year. This was a lot. There was all a lot of I don't know. I had like Spider-Man. I had a couple Michael Myers. It was very
Oh, you
IP
even got
based.
that. You even got that. Yeah, the only horror icon we got was like the Jason and technically Obi, who was dressed as Chucky. And he was sitting out with us
He
while
was
we were
so
sitting
cute.
on our porch. And what a good sport he was. Eventually the wig had to come off, and I'm just like, because the poor dog, but he just sat there like, and everyone thought he was so cute coming, we were running
Yeah.
up. And we had dog treats too, a bowl, because we have some neighbors with dogs. So if they brought their dog, the dog got a treat too, because
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, and it's cute. But most of them, yeah, it was like mixed things. There were like some superheroes in there, some princess
A lot of princesses
costumes.
this year. Yeah.
Um, I want to say there was that like which I think there was someone said one of the because there was some like the groups would come by and like the parents would hang out at our a little bit too and kind of walk because we have like a street that's not a cul-de-sac but kind of works like a cul-de-sac because it's kind of like a semi dead end. Like you can go out through it, but it looks like a dead end. You kind of go into this weird little sub street before you hit the main street. Um, so so it was like everyone was walking around, and I think someone said there was one of those like Labubu or Labibi, whatever they call those
Yeah,
things.
Labubus.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there was one of those. One kid, the best costume though, this one kid was like literally, I think I told you guys, he was like studio accurate Edward Scissorhands. Like, I mean,
Oh, that's
this thing
cool.
looked like someone spent like hours getting this kid ready. Like he had the full on like scissor hands working and like I was like, wow. Right when I saw it, I'm like, oh nice. It's like because I'm like wondering if people because I know that like most people, like will sit there and go, oh look what a great costume. That's so detailed. But no, I'm like, I'm like, no, no, you're getting
Yeah.
appreciative comments here that is Edward Scissorhands, that is dead on. Yeah, the hair. I'm like, this is perfect. I was like, so of course I was just so excited. So I was probably like the biggest goofball on the planet because I was just like, hey, happy Halloween, and like, and it's funny. The one time I got so excited, like, because I had the animatronic set up. So if you walked up the front, the gates open and it was like that cemetery theme. So it's the wrought iron gate. So if you walk through and as you walk by, the little animatronic would kick in, and like you could see people getting startled. Well, at one point, where Julie and I are sitting there, and all of a sudden we heard this like blood curdling scream from like four kids, and I'm like, oh my God, my animatronic worked too well. It was that there was a giant roach, I guess, on the street they saw because they were right in front. I'm like, well, I guess, I guess I'm gonna take credit for that anyway. But and I even set up one thing like under the spider. There's this thing I had for years when we had this Halloween party back when my friend Mark and I had an apartment like 20 plus years ago now, where it would like simulate a like thunderstorm and lightning. So go, it was meant for indoors, so it would look like it was outside. You tuck it in your windowsill. What I did is I kind of put it there underneath my spider thing because it was dark in that section. And so if someone would walk by that part, the sensor would kick and it would go. It worked like half the time, but it was like then it got to the point where it was annoying me, and I'm like, I can't take it. It's going off now when it's not supposed to. That's it. So I turned it off. Um, I will say I had like six remotes in my hand though, because like everything I bought was like the animatronic was plugged into an outlet that had a remote. So I wanted to be able to control everything. My fog machine was done by remote. My pumpkin like light that I was telling you about, I put in there. That was remote. And of course the projector had a remote. So it's like half the time, one point I was turning the wrong thing on, wrong thing off because I was grabbing things. But I will tell you I gotta send you the link to these things, these great, it's like a garden stake, and literally it's a green garden stake that goes in and it fits I think like four plugs, and it has that remote to it, so you can turn all your animatronic all
Oh,
things off at once or and turn it on. So it was a really cool thing, and it works for holiday lights, any holiday like Christmas things, and any kind of stuff you have out there. And honestly, it could work for anything you want, like just regular lighting and you want a plug. And it's so great because the remote, because you just go click, done. And it has
yeah.
timers on it. So you could set it right there for like 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. So I'm
That's
like,
what I
this is,
did. I've got something similar to that. It's not a remote, but I've got smart outlets. There are three-pronged smart outlets on each of I've got two outdoor outlets on the
oh, like
house.
the hue things, like kind of,
Yeah, but they're
oh,
but
okay.
they're um but they're smart. So they have an app. So I can either set a timer or I can manually turn them on and off. But yeah, that's what I do with my Christmas lights. And I even got it hooked to Alexa, so I can say, Alexa, turn off the Christmas lights, and it'll go and all the outdoor lights.
Oh, nice.
No, sorry, Alexa.
Oh,
Stop,
see, she
stop,
heard
stop,
you.
stop. You heard me. Stop. But anyway, so yeah, but she's very sensitive.
Yeah, she
Um,
hears everything. Jeez.
no, I know. Stop it. Stop it. Alexa, stop.
I can't edit right now, Alexa. Can you give us a break now?
Now people are listening to this on their speakers, like
I know.
their device is going off all over
I
the
know.
place.
It's like, well, and it's fun. Yeah, no, I wish I would have gotten that connection. The one thing I was proud of were those solar powered purple light things. Well, actually, they're I say purple, but they can change like 8 colors. You can just set them, and it's like solar panels. So it would charge during the day, and then at night it would put the purple glow on the house and on the
I need to get
tombstones.
those next year. I've got some I don't know if you guys saw them in the picture, but I got some LED solar powered eyeball lights they're like on stakes, but it's like six eyeball on tentacles like sticking up. And those worked excellent. Those were very like they held up really well. They lit up really well. They charged really well. Like they were not expensive. I got those off of Amazon. So if you ever see those little eyeball lights, those are great for
Oh, I
Halloween.
did. Yeah, that
Yeah,
I mean, definitely. Like, it's so funny because Julie's like, next year we're gonna buy the big tombstones. I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep that same theme next year. Like, now I'm getting all cocky. Like, I one year I decorated, and I think I get like a pro at this thing. No, I'm gonna get. I think I may just up my cemetery theme next year and get it really, especially if we're staying at this house, which I don't see why not. Because it just looks. I thought like it just that wrought iron gate alone like does cemetery. What I really my dream is really to make it into a home haunt. Could go to the driveway into the back area and
oh
kind of make
yeah.
like a whole thing, but that's probably years away. I gotta hone my skill a little bit. But
Well, my
oh
my
no,
dad's given me three full-size animatronic witches. In
oh
fact, I'm going up
nice.
this weekend to get them. But so next year I should have five animatronic witches. I didn't choose this theme, but the theme chose me apparently. So because I keep
Yeah,
getting witch animatronics, so that'd be cool. I mean, I could have like a
yeah.
coven of five animatronic witches, just do a whole witch theme. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and you can like, what you could do is you can get those like cauldrons that they have the fog that comes out of it, and you can sit like the
Yeah,
dry
yeah,
ice and get some cool like
that would be
fog
cool.
stuff.
That would
That's
be
neat.
really cool.
Oh, before I forget, I because and I know this is kind of a quick change of topic, but I want to shout out one of our friend podcast friends of yeah, I'll get this out. Our one of our friends podcasts that's that idiots the Idiot's Guide to Imagineering, which I mentioned on the show before. It's such a me podcast where it's basically like these this group of friends get together and they talk about Disney attractions, but then they create their own based off an IP, and it's like I love that podcast. Well, they decided to do, and they gave me, we always wanted, we always talked about this and we never did it, but they did it. So they basically made their own little award show and they're calling it the D-Ticket Awards, where they have like all these really cool they have 20 categories and it's like, like best, they have some funny ones in there. They have like, best normal, it's like best heritage attraction, best new attraction, but they have ones like best animatronic that not trying too hard kind of thing. So they have some really funny ones in there, but they actually nominated us in their award show where it's in the category the Friend of the Idiots podcast of the year. Now, I always thought if Tim and I would ever get described, we would be the idiots, but no,
Exactly.
yeah, so it's on par that we're actually mentioned there. But they have they they joke and they call themselves idiots, but they're some of the most creative group of people ever because some of the ideas they come up with for these theme parks, I'm like, I hope Disney listens and takes their idea because it's so good. But yeah, so we're nominated. And the funniest thing is like all the others are true Disney podcasts. And like then here's us, Civil Gore podcast in there. But I don't know. My theory is maybe like because everyone will vote for the Disney ones, like we could edge it out. Who knows? I don't
Maybe they'll
know.
split the vote like in the Oscars. Like
Yeah,
all
like
the
you never
Disney.
know. Like I just hope, yeah, and like but like if we'll have to travel wherever they are, I guess to accept the award. I don't know how they're doing that, but but yeah, no, all kidding aside, they're such a great group of people, and really, honestly, to me, to Tim and I, that means the world that we're like, especially when you're getting acknowledged by like your peers and fellow podcasters. To me, that's the best because they really get it. They know how hard it is to put on a podcast. So the fact that we got nominated on a Disney podcast, no less, that's awesome. So
Yeah, that's really cool.
thank you all members of the Idiot's Guide to Imagineering, which is definitely one of my favorite podcasts. And definitely check it out. And we shared the story, so you can go vote. You don't have to just vote for us. You vote for what you want, but vote for the other categories too, because I know there's a lot of crossover theme park fans here that
Yeah.
listen to our podcast. And actually one of them was best non-Disney theme park was a category. So I already know my pick for that. So get your vote in and make sure all their hard work they did pays off and they get lots of votes in there. So you can see it on we'll put it in the show notes, but you can see it on our Instagram story. We shared it. And that will take you there where you can link to do it to get the votes in. So
And I've got another quick podcast shout out. This one's crazy because I stumbled across this so accidentally, but it's like right up our alley. So me and Anna are big Swifties. So I'm all the time watching Taylor Swift reaction videos on YouTube. And so I've got a few like diehard Swifty people on YouTube that I always love to watch their reactions. So I was watching the reaction video to Life of a Showgirl, which is Taylor Swift's latest album, by one of my favorite Swifty reaction people, or any kind of music reaction people, Caitlin Marie. She goes by Caitlin Marie, or Caitlin Marie reacts on YouTube. But she was mentioning in her intro to that video that she has a horror podcast. I was like, what?
really,
I didn't know she was into horror.
yeah,
So
we
come
might
to
have a
find out,
collab here. We
yeah,
might
come
need
to
to
find
reach out
out,
for a collab.
she's got a podcast called I'd Survive. And listen to this. It sounds exactly like something up our alley, but it's a horror comedy podcast with a friend of hers, much like Spooky Chicks or Kim and Ket, where they talk about a movie and then decide whether they themselves would survive that horror movie or not. So sounds very
Cool.
similar to other podcasts that we've become
Yeah.
friends with. So I was like, that's really cool. We followed them on Instagram and just wanted to give them a shout out so you could check out their podcast because it's kind of one of those that's kind of right in our lane,
Well,
so
we
to
got to
speak.
reach out to them, see if they want to come
Yeah,
on then. That'll
yeah.
be
So it's
cool.
pretty cool.
Nice.
And fellow Swifties, so that's awesome.
There you- Yeah, yeah, that'll be I won't know enough about. I'll need to get you guys and my sister-in-law in on that one to help me
Yeah,
with the Swift knowledge.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this horror challenge because man, We said this was going to be the hardest year ever. This truly, to me, was the hardest year. I almost failed this challenge. I came within 1 day of failing this challenge, and I helped create it. Like this is
I know
ridiculous.
it's
So this one was tough, and again, Brian and I are going by our self-imposed rule that you actually do not have to go by, but we have a self-imposed rule that we have to watch films we've never seen before. Now, after 9 years of this, that gets increasingly more difficult to
yeah.
do, and you're relying on a lot of newer films, obviously. But this one in particular was so tough because there were some of these objectives that seemed easy on the surface, and then when you started trying to dig in and research, they were like, oh my God, they were tough. And so some of the ones that really tripped me up were the baking one, where somebody had to die while baking. That one was
Yeah, that
really
one was
tough.
tough.
Uh, Funnily enough, the one that almost killed me, the only one that almost cost me the entire challenge was watch a horror movie in a movie theater. And
And
my
that's like
God,
you do that all the time too,
I
which
do that
was
all the
like
time,
crazy that
but the thing, this month was so busy, and Anna was working every weekend. So when you go to the movies, usually on the weekend, I don't go during the weekday. Well, she was always working on the weekend, so I could never find a time to go. And then like some of the movies I wanted to see in the theater had already gone out. So I was like looking at the release schedule. I was like, the only thing I won't be able to go see is Black Phone 2. And we had the concert coming up, the Renee Rapp concert coming up last week, and I was like, "There's literally no way I'm going to be able to go see this movie in the theater. Like, I'm gonna fail the challenge." And I had just resigned myself that this was going to be the first year that I was going to fail the horror challenge because I just had no time to go see this movie.
it was
I'm
like the
not going to
year
take
I
a
was moving. Remember,
yeah,
there was just no time.
yeah.
I
I was
was
like,
the poorest
I'm,
time to move was when I picked to move in October. But
well, it ended up the Renee Rapp concert was postponed because she was sick. And
uh,
that left me an evening free to go see Black Phone 2, which is the only reason this horror challenge was saved for me.
I have a
But yeah,
confession, Tim. I coughed on Renee Rapp when
oh
I was had my
man,
sinus infection, and
yeah,
that
that's what
kind
it
of
was.
delayed it. But I wanted you to
You
get
know,
the challenge. I figured she'd postpone and you'd get to go still. No, I'm only kidding.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no,
No,
I would have though for you if that was what it
oh,
took to
I'm
get
sure
you.
you would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Anna was actually upset for me. She was like, "How long have you been doing this challenge?" I was like, "9 years. This will be the first year I
Yeah.
never completed it." She's like, "We can't let that happen." I'm like, "We're gonna have to let it happen, or you got to miss your concert." But anyway, it all worked out in the end. And sometimes the universe aligns for a reason. And I'm sorry, Renee Rapp had to be sacrificed for Civil War, but
Yeah, I mean, you know,
unfortunately, you know, the Civil War gods do not take kindly to the co-creator losing the
yeah.
challenge. So,
And I watched her show all the time too, so I put in my Renee Rapp dues also. So
yeah, yeah.
I watched her
Um,
movie. I mean, so I'm like I think we've given her enough. It's time she gives back. That's all.
yeah.
That's all it
But anyway,
was.
the concert was postponed till so I'm going back this weekend. So we're gonna see her, and we got VIP ticks. So
That's gotta be a nightmare
let's
though. Imagine to re have to reschedule concerts.
she
Like,
rescheduled 3 concerts, and you
oh,
can imagine like just the logistics alone. I mean, you think of all the loadout, the trucks, the people, the workers that have to go.
venue is not might not even be available. I mean, that's
Yeah, I mean
crazy.
it's just insane. Like I mean I'm sure that is not a decision that is made lightly. And she
No.
canceled the night before the concert. That's
She really had
how
no voice, right? That's kind of
she
important
had
for a singer,
zero
right?
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she literally could not sing without seriously damaging. Like it sucked because I lost $300 on a hotel like that I can't get back. Like I lost it, but
I wish you would have let me take the lead on that. I would have got that money back for you
it's
somehow.
one of those it's one of those things. But
Yeah.
lesson learned. Anyway,
Yeah. What would you?
um,
Well, at the same time though, like you did nothing wrong and you still got messed. You still got screwed over for three hundred
yeah,
dollars. That's what
it's
bothers me. It's
just.
like,
Well,
where's
it's one of
the?
those things you have
Uh,
to there's always it's always a risk, I guess you got to take. I've just never had a concert
yeah.
canceled that because I had a 2 day notice on the hotel. Like I could have canceled up to 2 days before.
Yeah.
Usually, if a concert's going to be rescheduled, it's going to be rescheduled well in at least 2 days in advance. I've never
Yeah.
had one rescheduled the night before.
Well,
Lesson
that
learned
shows she
on the
was
next time.
holding out. She was trying
Yeah,
to see if she could. get it done. Well,
Well,
I
yeah.
still always laugh because remember that time we were going to King's Dominion, all of us, and we all canceled that one hotel, and like mine was canceled right away, but everyone else had all these issues, and calling, everyone kept calling this poor woman, the same woman up, trying to get
Yeah.
that canceled. Oh, and then Julie and I ended up going anyway. We just switched hotels, I think. So we ended up going, like we just switched it to a day later or something, and we were able to go because I guess because I had already taken a day off of work or something. But I remember Seth was the one that was like the one in the motor because I think he used a debit card and so he was having trouble getting it back, like on. But that was
Oh
funny. I
yeah.
remember your brother was killing me with this thing. He's like, "Up, she just took another drink," you know.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
a
that's
story for
great.
another time. I'm sure we've told that on the show before, I think. Anyway,
Yeah, it was
that
great.
was a funny one. So yeah, I finished the challenge. I mean, it was funny. I think what made it hard this year is usually, I mean, towards the end I started seeing this, but like in the planning phase, I was having trouble like more so pairing up things. Like I made the challenges so hard that there was like no way on earth someone was going to be baking and kill and then also have one of the other challenges in there. So it's like
Right.
there's
Yeah,
ones
that was
you had to like earmark. You're like, okay, this has got to be a solo. I got to find up other ones to pair up somehow, you know? And it's like so it made it a little trickier, but towards the end I actually got some gems in there. And I'll have
yeah,
to say the fact that we both got the grilled cheese one, I mean that's
yeah.
awesome though.
That
Both of us
was
got the grilled
great.
cheese.
But I barely got that one. The only reason I got that one is because I had not finished the movie The Hunt when I had first watched it when it came out in 2020. Like I totally forgot I had never finished it. So I ended up rewatching it and finishing it this time. And when I say I had not finished it, I had watched maybe 20 minutes of it
Yeah. Yeah,
before.
but you could have technically got the one I got, right? Because you didn't see the new Toxic Avenger
Right.
yet,
I
right?
didn't know it had grilled cheese in it, but I could have stolen it from me for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, literally that one showed up on a keyword, and I'm like, what? It's grilled cheese in a keyword. What? And just so you know, it's literally an after credit scene. So it's as last second as you could get to claim that challenge. It's just he basically does. I mean, it's not a spoiler. He just basically does a like the middle credit scene is Peter Dinklage teaching you how to make a grilled cheese sandwich, and
Oh,
in character, and it's kind of
yeah.
funny. You know, it's just so it's kind of yeah. So I got that, but I did find some hidden gems this year, and I don't know about you, and one of them was like. I have to say, I mean, right towards the end, which was this, and I'm like, as I'm trying to pull up my thing to get you the proper title of the movie, I just almost like closed the whole account. So it was called The Parker Sessions, and it
Hmm.
was a found footage movie on Screenbox, and like I posted, I'll admittedly, I wanted to, I had a short window, and I needed about an 80 something minute movie and this one fitted. So I'm like, okay, found footage, whatever. I'm not claiming an objective on it, just wanted to see it. But it turned out to be really good. It was like this real weird psychological like thriller. I'm sorry, I said found footage. It's not found footage. It's just a psychological thriller kind of thing with this woman goes to see this new psychologist, and it turns out to be just way different than I thought it was going to be, and it was actually really good. The lead
I
actress is phenomenal, and she's been in nothing else. It's crazy. I don't understand.
Yeah, I've seen some of those that where you're like, this actor is like so incredible, and then they like just never make another movie. I'm like, what? What happened? I
Yeah.
didn't have, it was hard. This was year. Usually I have several hidden gems. This year I did not have, like, I would say most of mine were somewhat mediocre, but I will say there are a couple I wanted to talk about that I just absolutely loved. One of them, this is our go-to, like, we got to do a commentary on this movie or something at some point. But just one of those weird, crazy movies was Deadbeat at Dawn from 1988.
Oh,
This was
yeah, I remember you talked about that one.
yeah, this guy was like he wrote it, he starred in it, and he directed it. And it's low budget as hell, but the effects are actually really good and really over the top and gory, and it's got some of the most insane dialogue I've ever heard. It is a This guy ends up he's in a gang, he leaves the gang like a rival gang kills his girlfriend, and now he's like out for revenge. So this is almost like a Death Wish meets the Warriors kind of. I don't know what you call this. And there's
Oh,
like
I
His
love
dad's
that.
like this heroin addicted Vietnam vet. It's insane. It is so like it's one of those movies you need to like get a few beers in you and just watch with your friends. It's freaking hilarious.
I
And
had one of those on my sheet too. That was Doom Asylum. That's one we need to do commentary also, I think. That
yeah, and
one's a
then like
doozy.
the other one I just absolutely loved for just because of Jeff Goldblum is in it was Hideaway from 1995. I had never heard of this movie. But Jeff Goldblum and Alicia Silverstone. This is like peak Alicia
What
Silverstone when
a
she was
weird
doing.
combo.
But Jeff Goldblum plays this dad who he gets in a car wreck, and after the wreck, somehow he now has POV visions of this serial killer that's stalking the town, so he could see through the killer's eyes.
Oh God, the last
And
thing you need is more of a neurotic Jeff Goldblum.
I know, but it's just so good because like this is a movie that would be completely throwaway if you didn't have Alicia Silverstone and Jeff Goldblum in it. But like they make the entire movie and it's just so fun watching him in this movie that doesn't like it's not a movie of his caliber, but maybe it was back in 95, I don't know, but like nowadays I couldn't imagine him being caught dead in a movie like this, but it was great. I absolutely love that one.
But now
Um
he's off like just learning things, you know.
yeah.
But actually, that show's
Yeah.
that got canceled, and I love
I
that
know
show.
that
I
was a
know.
good show too. I
I'm
like
very
that show.
upset that they did not continue that show. That was great. We're talking about the
Yeah,
world according to Jeff Goldblum, by the way,
yeah, that
which
was
is
a great.
it was just you know what was so great is just to see him fascinated by like the smallest thing. He's like, look, they're
Yeah,
making bread, you know, and he's
yeah,
like, and
yeah.
he's just so
And you can imagine
fascinated
he's
with
like
him.
that in real life, probably. You know,
Yeah,
like he's
oh,
probably one of those people.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does jazz music. Well,
Yeah, he does like he's very just an overall like talented dude.
yeah.
Um I'm thinking like some of the other ones I saw. I mean, some of the other ones were like movies that I just hadn't seen yet, and I got around to seeing. So like Weapons, you know, which was great, of course, and you know the new Toxic Avengers. But another, I guess, somewhat hidden gem in there. Well, and I like Shelby Oaks too. I saw that in the theater. That one was really good too. Um, and I think I mentioned I saw a Good Boy through this, which was really good. But there's a movie called Dead Awake. It was that challenge where you need to wake up and then wake up again kind of thing,
Hmm.
which is a lot harder to find because it's not really like descriptive well and it descripted well in like keywords. So you kind of need to like get you kind of need to find the plot and like hope for the best on that one.
Yeah,
You
that one
know?
was tough. Although that was the first objective I found,
Yeah. Well,
surprisingly.
this one it was about a sleep paralysis and I'm like, okay, I could see that being a thing. So I kind of did, you know, I watched the trailer and you could see it in the trailer. So I was like, oh, okay, good. That's what happens in there. And it turns out like another movie, it happened after I had claimed that one, of course. I'm like, you know, figures, right? But this one was great because it not had one but two Jocelyn Donahues in it. She played a dual
Wow.
role, and that was the second movie in a row where I saw someone with a dual role. Although it was because Patty Mullen played in that Doom Asylum one. She played her mother and then her daughter years later. This one though it was like they played twin sisters in Dead Awake, and it was really good actually, especially because I love sleep paralysis movies. So they creep me out, and it's very few movies that'll like actually scare me these days. So those I mean, this one wasn't that scary per se, but it was really good. And you know, I love Jocelyn Donahue; she's so good in it. So, and it had Bria Grant in it too. So it was like overall just a really cool movie, and it's free on YouTube. It was on. So
Oh, nice. I did want to talk
yeah.
about Black Phone too. Did you see that one yet, Brian?
No, I haven't yet. Because Julie wants to see it, and we haven't. She hadn't got to see Black Phone 1 because she's intrigued by seeing like by all the Horror Night stuff she kept seeing for it.
Oh
So
yeah. So I mean, obviously I'm not going to give any spoilers, but
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not like Black Phone, the first one. I didn't really care for it. I didn't get all the buzz about it. I mean, it was okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I didn't see what the fuss was about it. Like it seemed like people liked it a lot more than I did. I went back and rewatched it before I watched Black Phone 2, and I actually did like it a little better, but it still wasn't like, didn't blow me away. Black Phone 2, I thought was a much better movie. It still didn't like completely blow me away by any means, but I like the direction they took with it. Because basically it picks up a few years after. Obviously, they had to because the actors grew up, but
Hmm.
it takes place a few years after the events of the first movie, and they really had to change the direction they went. And if you've seen the first Black Phone, you'll know why. I'm not going to go into why that is, but they had to change the direction this franchise went in terms of the villain, and I think it was for the better. Like it made it to me, it made it scarier. And the thing I really liked about Black Phone 2 is I thought they did a great job with the character story arcs. Like the story arcs of the characters from the first one carry over into this one, and they make sense, and they feel logical, and they feel satisfying. So I really like this. If they ever make a Black Phone 3, um, like I could see myself becoming, being converted from not liking this series at all to actually being somewhat of a fan of this franchise. I thought they took it in a neat direction. Now, it's too long a movie. I think they could have cut out, God,
Mm.
they could have cut out 30, 40 minutes easily. There's a lot of setup to it that I just think could have been scaled back. And I also don't really care for I've already mentioned this to Brian, but I don't really care for the director's overuse of
Oh yeah, Tim doesn't like
this
the filter.
the 70s grain filter. And even the producer on Spooky Chicks mentioned the same thing when they covered Black Phone 2. He was saying the same thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy. I think it was a
Yeah,
little,
yeah, it was
so
like J.J. Abrams and his blue
yeah.
lens flare kind of thing.
But it's a nitpick. I mean, I enjoyed it overall, and I thought it was an improvement over the first one. So if you like the first one, I think you'll really like this one.
Yeah, I kind of read, I think it was the Fangoria article I read, kind of explaining like how two could even exist and and why like why it can happen and how they they kept the same rules for characters that they did in the first one, and I was like, okay, so that's good because I was one that liked the first one. I watched it for last year's horror challenge, so I kind of wanted to watch it for this year's horror challenge, but we just couldn't watch it in time, the first one in time, or Julie couldn't watch the first one in time for us to see it, so I'm like, okay, and plus the time for Shelby Oaks was at a perfect, like I think it was like at 4 o'clock or something, or 4:15 or something like that. And we could see it right after work. So it was nice. We checked out our new Alamo, which oh my God, I love this theater, which I'm going to get into that quickly after. So we went back the Alamo. But yeah, because I like getting the drinks and the really good food, and I like how they bring it to you. I know some movie theaters do that before the movie, but this will do it in between the movie, and they have it down pat, so it's like the least disturbance possible for anybody, which I kind of like. So, but I guess yeah. So before we move on from the horror challenge, though, I kind of threw it out there. I didn't really get much of a response yet, but I've already just about completed the whole thing. So if we decide to go forward on it, it's ready. And that is a December horror challenge where again it's gonna, it's similar style, except it's you watch 25 movies in 25 days because it ends on Christmas Day. But it's gonna have the same things where you're gonna have more challenges than movies. So you're gonna have to try and double up. I mean, it's definitely it's going to be an easier challenge. I think it's basic. And I don't know. I've seen so many Christmas horror movies. I don't even know if I'm going to bother to worry about the whole if I've seen it before kind of thing for something like this.
Yeah, I think
It's
it'd
a
be
little
hard too
different.
because we've seen so many of them. Like I don't know that there's
Yeah.
as many Christmas horror movies that we haven't seen that would fit these objectives. Like
Yeah, and that's the problem. There's not, the Christmas horror movie is such a niche that I feel like that doesn't need to be, you don't need to overcomplicate it with something like that. I mean, I'll
yeah,
try, but only for the fact that I want to see movies I haven't seen before.
right, yeah,
But yeah, I'm gonna, like like I'm not gonna even make that rule. So, but the challenge is almost there already. It's definitely not as many objectives either, because obviously there's less movies to watch. It's gonna be less objectives, but you're definitely gonna need to double up. So we'll see if we go forward with that. If we do, I'm gonna try and get that out in plenty of time because I know once as we're getting closer to Thanksgiving and then the holiday in general, people just don't have time. And I don't want to burden people with I mean, it's supposed to be
yeah,
fun. I don't want to give that. So I want to give them like weeks to prepare for this so they could sit down like for a couple hours and kind of get their prep going, not like worry about ruining their holiday season because they have to go watch a movie, it's like kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But we'll let you know within the next few days by the time you're hearing this, honestly, it could be out for all we know, but we'll
I
see.
may do it
Um,
regardless of whether we we
yeah, I
publicly
mean,
announce it or
I
not.
only have
'Cause
a few more objectives I need to fit in. Like I was just rolling the other night. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. And like next thing I know, I'm like, oh my God, I only need like four more objectives here. And I think we got the challenge. So, um, But yeah, I think it'll be fun because there'll be some funny things in there. But back to the Alamo before I get into the Horror Unleashed real quick. We went and saw the anniversary of Back to the Future back on the big screen, which is great because that movie really still holds up as an enjoyment movie. And I saw this, it's funny, I was thinking this myself, but then I saw people question it. And I agree. It's pretty much like I look at it like I do Jaws, where it's like almost like a near perfect film. I mean, sure,
It
nothing is
really is.
perfect.
Yeah.
So, and granted, yes, you could argue that, well, this is a plot hole and time travel doesn't work that way. Beyond that, just as a pure enjoyment of a movie, like there are few movies I enjoyed and watched as many times as your original Back to the Future. I mean, I was obsessed with it when it came out, and I could still sit down and watch it today and get the same enjoyment out of it. That's how you know how well this movie is held up. You know, and what I loved is, and what Alamo does is, so Alamo has this thing, and I don't know if they always did this or this is something new, but when I got my tickets for Shelby Oaks, I noticed it said, "Hey, if you want to show up a half hour before, there's a show before the show," kind of thing. And
Hmm.
so I assumed it's just the usual like trivia going by, but they actually have like it's not like the normal theaters where it's just like the same old stupid ads or like like what's the one Maria Menounos interviewing a little, doing like, "Hey, welcome to the." It's not like that. It's like they have like real like things going on, like cool old footage and stuff. And they like Aziz Ansari keeps jumping in there, like he has things because like if you want to order on your phone, you have like you have to order it by a certain time before the movie starts. Otherwise, then he's like you have to actually use the paper like that they give you with like, and there's a light under your seat, like under the tray, so that's how you can see. So you don't have to turn your phone like on because they don't want the phones on at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's kind of neat how you can do it under that. But like for Back to the Future, they literally had like every bonus feature you could imagine on a Blu-ray or a DVD. They were showing like the original teaser. They showed like clips from the Broadway show. They showed like old little like vignettes from like Entertainment Tonight from the 80s and stuff. So it was really cool to watch as you were waiting for the movie. You saw all these like cool like things. Like it was like watching literally like a Blu-ray of it to see all the special features. So it's kind of neat.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I went to see the back in 2019, I went to see the anniversary of Back to the Future Part 2. Um no, I don't know if it was the anniversary. It was the God, when was the date he went to in Back to the Future Part 2?
Um, Nov- isn't it
Like
like November something
2015?
2015, which is crazy that was now we're at that point where it's 10 years ago and that was the future and I'm like
Yeah,
nothing
no,
came even
that's when
close to this.
that's what I did say. It was not for the anniversary of the movie. It was for that date that they
Oh, Back to the
traveled
Future
to
Day. Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
2015, Back to the Future Day. Yeah, that's what, and that was a lot of fun because we had all these people were dressed up at the theater and they were handing out clock tower flyers and it was really fun.
Save the
So
clock tower, Tim.
I've actually still got a picture of me doing the Marty McFly looking at his watch pose from the movie poster, like
Oh,
standing
that's
in front of
awesome.
my Toyota Corolla.
I still think that it had one of the best teaser trailers ever because it gave away nothing. The original
Yeah,
one, and it just sounded all you saw with that was Michael J. Fox, and you're like, oh, what is this? Michael J.
yeah.
Fox in a movie? That's cool. Um, but anyway, yeah. So definitely recommend if you have an Alamo near you and they have those special events, go to them because they're actually really cool. And I love getting the food there is actually pretty solid. The one near us, and their drinks are really good too. Um, so for Horror Unleashed, yeah, I want to go into this real quick. Just because I'm gonna try and not give away too much because it's definitely something that needs to be experienced, I think. You know, and it's not so and it's a little different obviously than Halloween Horror Nights where, those houses, it's you can spoil them a little bit because they may not be back again.
Right, yeah.
This is something that's definitely more permanent for a while. Now I know I think I've read somewhere that these houses are going to change eventually. This is the first round of houses and I'm sure I don't know if they'll do it every few years or like all four at once because there's only four houses or they'll just every once in a while whichever was the least popular maybe they say okay you know what let's time change it because it's in this big massive like warehouse building um, and it's in a place in Vegas called Area 15, which is like this just mega entertainment complex. It's like entertainment complex on steroids. Like the first building has that one with the Meow Wolf in it, and it's got zip lines over your
Oh
head,
my gosh,
and
yeah.
every virtual reality type of game you can imagine. And so outside there's a second big building they built. I showed up there and I'm like walking in the building. I'm like, where are they tucking this thing? And then I said, where's the Horror Unleashed? And the guy, oh, it's in the second building in the back. And I'm like, so I had to actually walk at the front, and they actually had a little shuttle that could take you there, but it's like a block away. I just went around the corner, and there it is. I just walked. I'm like, I'm gonna walk to this thing. I'm waiting for this little shuttle to take me 30-second drive. Um, but so you go in there and it's really cool. So the only problem is that, oh, you know what? No, I never looked at my picture. They made me pose for a funny picture when I walked in, like a scare thing, and then they gave you a
Oh,
card to check it out, and they're like, yeah, I think it's there for a while. But I totally forgot to go look at it. It was silly because I just went myself. I broke off from the group that was with my brother and some friends, um, because I wanted to check this out. So I went in. They let me shoot video in there, which I was surprised. I tried to email in advance to get special permission, but they never got back to me. But they said I was okay with my phone in there as long as I didn't have flash and I couldn't use my gimbal, which stunk. So some of the footage, you see my finger in it because the phone was like, after a while, the phone is like sweaty on your hands, it's
yeah.
hot in there, and it just does a slip. So I was trying to grab focus. Definitely not as good as my Halloween Horror Nights ones, but it's cool when you walk in, like instantly you get in there, and it's like the whole building is like a giant scare zone kind of thing. It's like it's crazy. It's like they're just the second you walk in, there's like this character thing. And I think the main thing, I think it's considered the Vampire Queen section. And I mean, like, so it's like the whole thing is just like from like every wall is like decorated, like it looks like you're in a giant indoor scare zone. It's insane how it is. And they even have like literally one of these vampire minions like literally flies over your head on a zip line. Like it's like really well done. And I think and you might hear me say this again with the houses, but it really is. I think the semi-permanence of this is where they use that to their advantage by not having like it make a portable house that's going to get torn down at the end of the
Right.
season. So they really can invest in like houses. So everything's just bigger and more detailed than Horror Nights even, which was I was not expecting. I expected Horror Nights light, and I guess it
Yeah.
is in terms of number of houses, but in terms of the houses themselves, they might have exceeded Horror Nights, most of them. So, I
Nice.
mean,
That makes
yes,
sense though, because
yeah.
they're. I mean, you're not putting it up knowing you're going to be tearing it down in 2 months. You know.
Right. So I mean, they go like all out, and everything just is like the first example, like the first one I did was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. It was the one right there. I'm like, okay, I got there right when it opened, so I was walking. Yeah, I mean, you literally there's like lines that build up, but nothing like Horror Nights. Like the longest line I waited for was the Universal Monsters. That was definitely the house that I think people go to, because that one I waited like 20 minutes on the line to finally get in. But so the Texas Massacre house was very similar to the one we went to at Horror Nights,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
except bigger. Like literally, you walk in, the facade is this like you're in this thing, and it's the whole house. And you walk in, and then it's like the little meat factory. But then you go out through, and then like the house is there again, like a full on like Texas Chainsaw Massacre house kind of thing.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
yeah, and I mean the scare actors are great. There's in fact the one like I'm not gonna spoil it because there's one jump scare in there that like a part of me was expecting, but like I figured, "Oh, okay, I guess I was wrong," and then it got me. And like, I mean, I didn't jump or anything because I'm weirdly desensitized to that, but I could see people like literally freaking out. Like you would have probably went 6 feet in the air because like it was just the actor that did it was so perfect. That's all I can say. But one of the sequences I will say, which was kind of funny. So most of the time since I was by myself, they kind of let me go in by myself. So like I was the group, like I was my own group. And so it
Oh,
was
that's
kind of
cool.
cool. So yeah, so I got I really wasn't getting bumped from people behind. Some people weren't like there wasn't any like people in front of me like freaking out and backing into me or falling or slowing things down. So that part was really good. So I walked. There was one. So there's the famous sequence where Leatherface comes out of the door, the metal door, and slams it.
Yeah.
So I'm down the hallway, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know this sequence. And all of a sudden, some random like guest walks in front of me, like kind of like it seemed like it was from behind me. She's wearing regular clothes, walk through. She was part of it. I didn't expect it. She was the one Leatherface
Oh.
comes out and grabs. So it like, and I was like, that must be intentional because Because I'm like, because it had it like she was wearing like normal clothes. She didn't look like she was in costume for the rest of the
Yeah.
thing. Like everyone else was wearing 70s clothes. She's wearing like a modern day outfit. So I sorry if I spoiled that for people, but it might not always happen that way. So, but
Yeah.
I had to tell that because it's so few times I'm ever fooled in a house like
That's
that.
cool.
And yeah, it was the typical stuff. It had all the famous scenes from the movie, lots of chainsaw sounds, lots of Leatherface coming in, some good gore, just overall like really good. And there was a lot of good jump scares. I think for people that really get jump scared, they'll be in heaven. Next one I did was I wanted to go right to Universal Monster, but it was opening a little later, so it wasn't open yet. So I moved to the next one that was nearby, which was the Exorcist Believer House, which I wasn't that excited for, only because I wasn't a big huge fan, I wasn't really a fan of the movie.
Yeah.
The original
Same.
Exorcist, yes. This one, not so much. But I have to say, it was really well done. There was a long build up to this, and the lady was so awesome. She stopped me before I was about to go in, and she made sure I was going in by. She goes, "I'll let you go in by yourself. I see you want to film, so I'm gonna make sure you go in by yourself, so you get the full
That's
thing." I'm
cool.
like, so she held me back a little bit longer. I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." I said, "Yeah, it's technically it's for a podcast, so this will be great." She's like, "Okay, great, great. I'll tell you when to go in then." So she was awesome. Let me in, and overall, it was really cool. There's a lot of detail in it, a lot of good, like, the scare actors in there were really well done. Like every square inch of this thing was in theme. So it was like they even had an Ellen Burstyn scare actor in there.
Oh,
It was just
nice.
yeah, it was really well done. And what this one did was the first house that I've seen this in. And like, some of the regional parks we know do this, but this one actually, there was a spot where I was walking and I caught up to the people. I'm like, oh shoot, I was going through this too fast, but it was intentional because the scare actor kind of gave me like a hand gesture, like to stop because they put on a little show sequence, and it was with the girls getting possessed. So there's like little show sequences in there that they intentionally stop you at so you don't miss it,
Oh,
which I
that's
like.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I get that because you're spending a lot of money, for the four houses that you got in there, and you're there to have a good time. They want you to experience everything. So I kind of like that they did that, and they did this in the next house too, which was finally I got to go into the Universal Monster House. Those are the ones I was sending you all those pictures. Like the line for it has all the like cool statue heads of the things, and
Yeah.
I will
This would be the
say.
one I wanted to go in.
Yeah, this one you would flip at. I mean, the only thing that I would say, the only slight negative, and it's not a negative, I get why they did it. It's basically the more epic universe, dark universe style of the Universal monsters. But what's good is the creature really doesn't change much, so he was pretty much on point.
Yeah.
The rest of it, like the Dracula's more modernized, and I don't remember seeing like the Invisible Man in there at all. Like he wasn't in there,
Yeah,
so it
you
was
wouldn't have
just
seen him. He was invisible.
well, yeah, no, but you're good point. But like, I don't think there was a sequence of him, basically, I should say. But yeah, but like, it was cool, and the creature was one of the first sequences, and it made you feel like you were walking underwater, like there was coral all around you, and
Oh, cool.
and he
Yeah.
would appear and jump out, and they had all these kind of really cool sequences. And the Frankenstein sequence was the show sequence where they literally stop you and they show him come alive and everything, and it's really like neat effects. And that was a pretty long house, and there was a lot of things jumping out at you through that. Like every like section you could see, there was a hole where something was jumping out, and it was like to the point of where if you're an expert of these houses, you've been through a lot of them, you kind of know where to expect it, but it's still awesome to see, because they really like put a lot of love into this house, which, of course, to us is like the marquee house.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I even told Tim, I said, like, I don't think you and I could have designed this house any better, honestly. Use Universal Monsters. Maybe we would have used the original look, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Um, so then I went out. I went the last house I did was a Scarecrow one, but in between there, the Scarecrow it was temporarily closed, and the reason why is because they had in the Jack's Clown section, I think it's called Jack's Demented Circus. Now, if you remember, you and I both read that Horror Nights book. So Jack was one of the original icons that they
hmm
created for this, and he's like this demented looking clown. And then eventually they added Chance, which is his sidekick. It's very Harley Quinn-esque kind of thing,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
if she was more gory kind of thing. And so they put on this like great like musical show, and it's like on this little stage in there, and it was well done, and it's like the actors they chose for this were so good because they were so into it, and like it was like meta too. Like it wasn't like you were supposed to be in their section, like it was like you were in Vegas, and we're taking over Vegas for right now. And like there's even like she even does the line. She goes, whatever stays in Vegas, whatever
Yeah.
happens in Vegas, kind of thing. And they do this whole bit is like some musical numbers. And they have a thing, Stay or Slay. It's like this game show kind of thing. And I won't give you the results, but obviously it's not a free and fair
Yeah.
competition. I'll put it that way. I'll just leave it as that. But it's kind of funny because and the actors are so good, and then they walk around after. So, after I went to the house, I went and got a drink at the bar there, and they had a really cool signature drink. Oh, and I grabbed some Jack coasters to kind of send you to put in the prize box, a
Oh,
prize
nice.
closet.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of little things. Um, but and like so I took a picture with Jack and Chance, and it was funny because Jack was like I was just taking some pictures of him walking, and he turned. I said, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" He goes, "About time you asked," or so. He's like, "I see you just taking pictures of me." It's like really like great interaction. And then when Chance came by, I was like, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?" She goes, "Sure." She goes, "But wait, what's your name?" And I'm like, "Brian." She goes, "Do you know my name?" I said, "Yeah, Chance." She goes, "Very good." I said, I know my Horror Nights history. I'm like, I said, "You're not fooling me." And so like, she took a cool picture, which I posted up on there, on Instagram. And so that was really cool. The bartender was nice. He gave me like he was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, this is our signature drink. This is what you want." So I grabbed that and had a nice drink there. Then I did the final house, which was the scare. Oh no, actually, sorry. In between that, I did the Scarecrow, the Reaping House. And of course, I was like, I didn't want this to be my last house because I'm like, another Scarecrow house, another corn stalk thing. But let me tell you, this one blew me away because of again, this is where that semi-permanent structure plays out because this thing, the scope and scale of this house just seemed massive. Like there was a sequence where you walk outside and there's like this, I guess there's a screen effect going on where it looks like the wind is blowing and you feel it in there and it feels like you're literally outside lost in the middle of this cornfield for a minute and you
Oh,
go
that's
in.
cool.
Yeah, and then the scare actors are great. Tons of cool jump scares and everything. And then there's a sequence at the end where literally you can't even barely see the path because there's so much like corn stalks are like pushing out of the way. So it's like, and it just really like I was so surprised how much I liked that house. It's probably gonna be number two because of the Universal Monsters was gonna be number one.
Yeah.
If I had to rank it, it would be that, this Scarecrow one, which I never thought I'd say, Chainsaw and Exorcist, and only The Exorcist because of the property. I wasn't a fan of that movie, the remake. I
Yeah.
wasn't a fan of it, or sequel, whatever you want to call it. And I just was not a fan of that. So, but the house itself was great. I mean, all four are just amazing houses and could be number one at any Horror Nights if they place it there because of the quality of it. And there was I saved some stuff. Like there was a restaurant, like there was a little food place I was gonna try, but we're gonna eat in a little while. I was meeting everyone for the steakhouse, and there's a restaurant there, which I figured next time I go, Julie and I owe Julie a Vegas trip. I've been there like 4 times since I've been out here, and she has not gone yet. So I owe her a trip. So I figure we'll go there, and I'll make a reservation at the restaurant part. There's some like sections of props that you could see. Some other characters are always walking around. So it really is like a mini Horror Nights in that respect. Totally worth I think it was like I think my thing was $100, and that basically gives you get a time slot of when you can arrive, but there's no like fast pass or anything in there. I figured I don't think I need that for this trip. Because I had about 4 hours of time, so I wasn't in any kind of rush. But like I think you can get up to like 150 if 160 if you put the fast pass, but I don't think it's necessary if you get your time slot like right when it opens. So you can pretty much
Hmm.
like walk through everything. I got a cool shirt and I got a hat which that says Horror Unleashed, which I already got a compliment on when I went and saw one of I wore it to the movies, and someone said, "Oh, that's cool. Did you go to that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I love that hat." And I'm like, "Because you don't like Universal. I feel like Horror Nights doesn't really have many good hats when I'm usually there. It's always shirts, but this had a cool hat, so I got a hat and a shirt, which I thought was cool. And I bought the $5 like Horror Nights bag, their fish, sorry, Horror Unleashed bag, which was one of those reusable shopping bags, which was kind of cool.
Do
But
you think
yeah,
it's
I
so? My question is, do you think it's like, do you feel like it's sustainable? Like, is this a year-round haunt? Does it feel sustainable?
know it's in the perfect area for it to have that. Remember, Vegas also has a bunch of horror stuff already. Like they have those two horror escape rooms I've done, like the Blair
Hmm.
Witch, and Saw, and they added It to that. They have the horror pizza place, which is attached to that. Now horror Vibes Coffee is located there. I think there's another horror sequence thing there somewhere. I forgot what it was. Like there's a horror food place, another horror food place. And the fact where that entertainment thing is, I think it's like it's definitely in the perfect area where it needs to be. Like if it was like in a hotel, I could see it not sustainable.
Yeah.
This I think is sustainable. And like because by the time I left, the when I walked in, there was like maybe 30 people in the building, and I was like, oh, this is not bad. Well, it's a Saturday. It's like a week before Halloween. What's going on here? But by the time I got out of that first house, I saw people coming in. By the time I was leaving the place, there was probably hundreds and hundreds of people in there, and
Okay.
everyone was just having the best time. I saw people of all ages in there, like older adults, younger adults, and like teens, and it was like so. It was definitely, I think, I think they're promoting it well, and honestly, I hope it does well because I would recommend this to anybody, even non-horror fans, because it's just so cool. I mean, granted, horror fans will obviously get like this is something if you go to Vegas, you cannot go to Vegas without doing this.
Well, and the other
So,
thing too is, Horror Nights is a very limited event. I mean, you've only got
right,
a couple months you can do it. Not everybody has the means to make it either to the East Coast or to the West Coast during that particular time period to go to
right,
that particular event. So I suppose having something year round like that in a centralized place where a lot of people visit, touristy place, makes sense that you'd have a lot of people that have never experienced that type of haunt before can now
right.
finally experience it.
Right, and it's not like like there's no rule that haunts have to be around Halloween, It's like it's just there's like that one mysterious mansion in Gatlinburg we did, right? That thing's year round and it's great. So it's like year-round haunts can be a thing. And let me tell you, they advertised the hell out of this. Thing was on cabs and this was on billboards and like so like you could not go in anywhere in Vegas without seeing it. Yeah, so I mean, it was that like I am like rooting for this place and I hope this thing just does well because I know like the first time I went to Vegas, we went to that area and there was that like Lost Lagoon Tiki, not Lost Tiki Lounge. It's rum lounge or something. It was weird. It was like, and we did that. And nobody liked it because you had to like go in. It was weird circus acts going on and these catacombs you'd walk through, and you'd have to like locate the five different rum drinks to. And it was cool, but like it was almost like a little too confusing. I think what they do a good job about this is that it's the houses, but it's also the scare actors and the fun and that show. The Jack show alone is worth the admission because it's so fun. And like, they pick people out of the audiences to be the judges of that game show kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's really interactive. And I just think like you would go in there in the awe of it. The only problem is like I wish it could have been in that main building because I could see people not like me, like not realizing that it's back there if they're not, if they're not in the know. But so, because they do advertise at Area 15, but Area 15 is incredibly massive. Like they have one of those things where you can eat like on the bar lifts you up and you're like eating there. They have like everything. Like look it up when you're done, when we're done here. Just look up Area 15 Vegas and look at all the attractions. There's about 50 attractions in this section.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I think they're building another building for something else is coming. So but yeah, it's honestly, it was like I was so blown away on how good it was. Like it was the opposite of disappointment. Like part of me was like, oh,
Nice.
maybe because I'm going myself. But at some level, going myself kind of let me focus on it a little more.
Yeah.
And so I got really into it, and I had such a good time. Like and it's like I would go back in a heartbeat. Like I would drop down that $100 in a second again to go back and
That's
just
awesome.
really like take my time a little more and like really wander, sit down, have a couple more drinks, try more food. The gift shop is pretty decent there. The only bad thing I will say is the gift shop. Once you go in the gift shop, they'll either have to hold the bag for you or you have to leave. Like you can't like grab your gifts, buy
Oh
merch and then
yeah.
walk around. They don't want you to go in. So, but they'll gladly hold it for you. They flat out say like, "Oh no, we'll hold it for you if you want to go back in
Yeah.
more." But like I did it, overheard that, so I knew. So I'm like, all right, I'll gift shop is my last thing. That's all.
Yeah.
And I'll, so, but yeah, it's definitely really cool. I would say go, I would try and go because I could see them after about a year or two start changing like at least one of the houses. Like I could see that Exorcist house changing just because the property is, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like endless, like everyone knows that. It'll
Yeah.
always be around. Universal Monsters, same thing. Scarecrow is generic enough. Sure. Exorcist Believer, since they're not doing, I guess they're canceled the sequels, right?
Yeah, I
So
heard they canceled the sequel. So yeah, I could see them
yeah.
swapping that out with some other IP to
I
keep
could
it
see,
fresh.
yeah, I could see that's the first house to go. Um, Honestly, I could see if they could pull this off and get the rights to it. I could see like maybe a permanent terror firehouse there down the road. Maybe something along the lines of what I would love to do is them to make a like that Monstrous 3 house I loved. That was my favorite house
Hmm.
of Halloween. If they put all three together in one big house there, I could see that being really good because it's like it's lore, it's tale, it's timeless ghosts and spirits from Latin America that doesn't go away. That doesn't have an IP expiration date like some of these do. So yeah, I would just say I would recommend it. I think we need to get our little horror chat together and go again, though. I think we need to bring Team Vegas back just for this somehow.
I know we've got to do Tim Vegas. We
We've
got
got to do Tim
that's
Vegas. I mean,
yeah,
even if it's not celebrating anything but just going to this, because it's so much fun. It really is. I like 11 out of 10. I give it. I mean, it's so
nice.
good. So
Well, so I hope you guys enjoyed that kind of horror recap. We're finally getting back to somewhat normal programming. I guess we'll
yes.
probably be able to do some movies and stuff, but
Yeah, and we have we'll have our Christmas movies before you know it. And I think this year we need to do, in honor of John Candy and
we're
the
gonna do it.
fabulous documentary, we need to do the Planes, Trains this year,
We've been
the
threatening it for
commentary.
years. We're gonna do the commentary for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes,
We have to do it this year.
especially because if you have not seen that on that Tom,
I haven't watched
I
it
said
yet. I've been
Tom,
scared.
uh, John Candy doc, oh my God, bring a tissue for the last half hour.
Oh,
That's all I'll say, but
so
it's so
my
good.
buddy came over for trick or treating, and he was telling me about it. Now this is completely outside of our little friend group here. Um, so this was a third person point of view. He said, "Have you seen that John Candy documentary?" And I said, no, I haven't watched it yet." He's like, "Dude," and this is a guy I would not say is like a sensitive tear jerker type person. He said, "I'm gonna tell you, I was bawling like a baby by the end of it."
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he said, it is that he's like, I was not prepared
yeah, and
for looking at it.
and some of the things people say about him, and they show clips from like the memorial service. It's just Colin Hanks did such an amazing job on like literally showing you what really we lost with John Candy
Yeah,
being gone, because how much he provided and how many lives he's changed. And it seems weird to say that by just an actor, but you find out in this he was well beyond that, and that's what was so good. I found out too, the bar that my brother and I like to go to when I go down is Colin Hanks is a regular there too. This bar and
really.
yeah, in Sherman Oaks, and I'm gonna like I need to like I keep saying I'm like I hope we go one time and he's in there because I'm gonna like shake his hand and say, you know what, you did an amazing job on that doc. So,
That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, we
alrighty.
will see you back
Yep.
here soon.
See ya.